This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if you do what I command you. Henceforth I call ye not servants, for the servant doesn't know what his Lord is doing. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father have I made known.
Wrong button. Good morning. Welcome to Line by Line Bible Studies. We're continuing the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. Sorry. All right. Okay. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 and 2 before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come. So there's the apostles and there's the 70. I've already mentioned the 70, I think, in passing. Sometimes it's hard to remember, as a lay person who studies the Bible, meaning I'm not a professional scholar, the differences between the Gospels are not always something, it's like, you remember. Like, when exactly does it even mention certain things? So I didn't remember if it was going to specify when the 70 actually happened. Sometimes things just get you just jump right into it. So he appoints other 70 others besides the 12 apostles. There are 70 appointed messengers sent out before him. So his face is to go to Jerusalem, and that's from the last part. He was set to go there, and as he's traveling, he sends them ahead of him to announce his coming. Let me see if this. Does this help? All right, so whatever. Is it? That's definitely not it. All right, whatever. Monitor's a little weird. Okay, so verse 2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. The harvest is great, but the workers are few. There's even hymns written based on that verse. There's a lot of work to be done. There are a lot of people who need to be served. But there are a few people who do it. And I don't know if this is a lament, but it is just an observation. The harvest is always greater than the workers. Because even when you go into anything, as far as business or an endeavor like harvest, in order to be profitable, and not that the Lord has to worry about profit per se like this, but he uses analogies in the human experience to be instructive. And so you don't hire more workers than you need. You don't want to hire too few, so that you're not able to bring in the harvest. but you hire the sort of the optimal number. But it's still going to be a great big harvest compared to the workers. I don't know if that's always, because I'm not an agriculturalist. I live in an agricultural area. But modern agriculture would not inform my understanding of the way Jesus would have looked at it. I know, because I think in terms of, they get these big combines, and it's like there's two guys who do just miles of territory. But, yeah, I remember, there are old songs about picking cotton till your fingers hurt, which indicates to me that even if you have a lot of people doing the work, there's still a lot of work to be done. Even the parable of the workers' wages. The guy keeps hiring workers, and they're working into the evening, and so it's like there's a long day. Because harvest always has to be done all at once, generally speaking. There's not like a, though that's not, I don't know. In my garden, I harvest over several weeks. I go out and pick everything that's ripe as soon as it's ripe, because it helps it produce more. That's what I noticed. If you just let all the ripe fruit go, it kind of doesn't last as long, especially things like cucumbers. So, plus they get all big and nobody likes them. So whenever you're in a harvest situation, I guess the idea is that you always want more workers. You always need more. So pray the Lord to send more. It's I don't know. Especially, you can just confine it to that time. Maybe it's something that doesn't need that much comment, but oftentimes it does. It seems like there's more work than anyone can handle. There's more to be done. I always feel like that, even with my own work. Though I don't have, there's things I want to do, songs I want to write, studies I want to teach. There's no end of it, and there's plenty of it to be done. To bring forth the fruit. Now he says in mind also, not just fruit, well, he has specifically fruit in mind of people who are ready to hear, willing to be served, to learn. There's a lot of people that are going to go after him. There's going to be excited to see him. But, I think, and I always try to think of a long-term understanding of how the sayings he say are axiomatic, meaning they're applicable across a wide array of situations. So anyways, but I'm not sure beyond that what I could say. So go your ways, behold, I send you forth as lambs among wolves. Carry neither purse, nor scrip, nor shoes, and salute no man by the way. Hold on there in verse 3. So I send you as lambs among wolves. They're going out harmless among the harmful. And if you don't see the disadvantage in that, it's obvious. But it's not just, the thing is, Jesus said in one place, be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. Lambs are not exactly helpless, but pretty much harmless. They're not a threat to anybody. Nobody's ever been killed by a lamb. Gentle as a lamb. Rams are a different story, but it's lambs. It's a young sheep. The world is full of wolves. There are people out there with their knives sharpened, waiting to take every advantage. Not just in the literal sense. I hope you understand. I don't mean that. Even in like when you're having a discussion, to carry you the burden of, you ought to carry this burden. I try to carry it. To be honest, to be truthful. You know what I mean? To do no harm. To not harm people with the things you say. To do good, and not evil. But but in a sense, but see, sometimes, and also not in the name of doing good to do evil. Or let's say, love is not, this thing I say, love is not what feels good, it's what does good. Or how about, it's not what intends good, but what actually does good. Meaning, good intentions are no excuse for having an ill effect. If I go out and say, like, well, I didn't mean to ruin people's lives with my teaching or whatever, I didn't mean to. I meant only to do good. That's, that's not a sufficient excuse. My intentions. That's so cheap. If you intended so much good, why didn't you take the time to make sure? I still, and this is also, this is for me. I intend to teach things right and to say things that are good, but I don't always accomplish it. You know what I mean? I make mistakes. Because a lot of times it has to do with leaven, things the way, or just things being, wanting things to be the way that it's convenient for you, as opposed to dealing with all the difficulties that might be in your way. Runny nose. Right? There sometimes are difficulties. And wouldn't it be nice to just wave your hand and make them disappear? Well, sometimes you can. But that's a very wolfy maneuver, especially when you're talking about spiritual things and you're talking about dealing with people's souls. People want to devour other people. They want to drag them into their churches. They want to drag them into their point of view, even if it's not church. Atheists want to make an atheist out of you. Not all of them, but a good number of them. They're just dying to destroy someone's faith because they think it's for their good. And maybe a few even think they're doing it because it's fun to be evil. I don't know. I don't know men's intentions. I don't care. All that matters is the effect. Someone who does something by good intentions but destroys men's lives is no better than one who's better. It's like the parable Jesus said. One son, a father went to his sons and said, "Go out in my field and work in my harvest." And he said, "I will," but then he didn't. The other one said, "I won't," but he did. He repented later on and did the same day. Which one, therefore, did his father's will? Obviously, the one who actually, he said he wouldn't, but he did. Same thing goes with intentions. What's better? To, by good intentions, hurt people? Or through ill intentions, help them? On some level, you don't get much credit because you intended evil. But it's like when Joseph, in Genesis, when his brothers threw him into a pit, he's like, what you intended for evil, the Lord intended for good, and now I'm in a position to save our whole family. So, he forgave them. Whereas Saul, if we take him at his word, he had a lot of good intentions. I was just saving everything. I was disobeying God because I was going to save it for God, whatever. And that's what it comes to, is like, I get so focused on the positive thing I think I'm doing. I'm going to preach the gospel and save their souls. But at the same time, am I lying? Am I cheating? Am I corrupting God's word? Am I, Well, I just want to get them to believe. What am I going to get them to believe in? A bunch of lies? We need to be harmless. When you go out, you can't go out like a wolf. A predator uses whatever strategy and trickery he can use to seize the prey. I have you. That's what they want. We have to go out like lambs. We don't have the same tools at our disposal. We can't use dishonesty. You know what I mean? And a lot of other things. Because sometimes I've had arguments with people like back and forth online or an email, and they become very rude and insulting. And there's times when I really want to say really mean things. I can craft. I'm pretty good with words. And I can put together extremely cutting remarks. Deeply cutting. I can say mean. And when I feel people doing it to me, trying to cut at me, they're trying to cut into me and to wound me, to make me feel like garbage. They want to make me feel like a piece of refuse. The off-scouring. They really just want to get into me and hurt me. Even if it's not working, I can feel them trying. They're like looking, where can I hurt him? I've had people go after my family. I've had people go after all kinds of things. My appearance, such as it is. They go after all those things. My youth and my age. I've had people come after me for both. Hunting around, seeing where the opening is, so they can stick the knife in and twist it. Right? And I would like to just show them, oh no, you don't know how to use a knife. I do. But I can't. I'm not allowed to. Not that I've never done it. Or wouldn't do it. I can't. I'm not allowed to. And I shouldn't. And I shouldn't even want to. That's how we are to go forth. Not with harm. You won't hear my, like he's going to say something that I thought, I forgot that he did say it. But careful how you say it. And when you say it. And who you think you are, that you've got a right to say it. To say mean things. Or to say dark things. To utter dark sentences against people. They're careful. It's not that there's never... Here's the thing. It's not that there's never a time to stick the knife in and twist it. I mean, metaphorically, of course. And literally. Not that there's never time for those things. There's a time for every purpose under heaven. There's a time for peace and a time for war. And if you don't think that's what goes on in war, it's funny. Things they don't want you to talk about, Well, it's like that's all. War is just murder on an industrial scale. That's not to say that there isn't a time for it. Jesus, when he comes, his garments will be soaked in blood. And that's not said in vain. It's not his blood. His blood is on us. That's where it needs to be. On him is the blood of the enemy. Let it be on him, because he's the just one. I don't want the blood of the enemies on me. It might not come off. Carry neither purse nor scrip nor shoes, and salute no man by the way. We talked about this. He mentioned this when he talked to his apostles. He's saying the same things. Don't prepare for the journey like the purse, scrip. I wonder if he uses the same words. I want to check that. Because I don't think that word... I don't think he had both purse and scrip. Because as I recall, scrip, whatever the word was, I forget. Whatever script was, or scrip, not script, scrip, whatever it wasn't it sounds like purse. Whatever purse is, they sound like similar things. So let's see if we get that begging bag here. Yeah, para. All right. Scrip was para, a leather pouch. Or in Spanish, a female dog. I just remember that. I think they double the R, though. A sack, a wallet for carrying provisions. That was para, the last time you mentioned scrip. There was no purse before, as I recall. Ah, a purse, a money bag. This may be the one referred to as, in some Greek sources, as a begging bag. Ah, interesting. It comes from the word balo. It may be those of you who've dabbled in Greek. I'm not a scholar. I'm not going to flatter you either and say you. Those of you scholars in Greek. No, those of you who dabble a bit, like I do. I'm a dabbler because I have no systematic understanding of Greek, but I've been looking up words in Greek for so long that I catch on to a few things. Balo, like you have katabole, or you have, which means. Or in English, we actually use the word catabolism. Bole means to throw. Balo. I wonder if it's where we get our word ball from. I don't know. It just sounds like it. Katabole. What's another word where balo comes in? There's a couple other, but it's a root word. It means to throw. I believe so. The throw or cast or toss. Because katabole means to throw down. You have to throw, cast, see? Not out of my mind. So what was it? A balantian. Now that, as a begging bag, makes a lot of sense. Because as a depository, meaning you throw stuff into it. A bag for casting into. So, it is specifically some sort of money bag. Or maybe you cast money in, maybe it's, I don't know if it's a begging bowl. And I addressed that because the reason I'm making a big deal about that begging bowl is because of when I first started studying the Bible with Arnold Murray when I was a young person. You know, I got misled in a lot of ways. And so I'm always very critical of things I learned from him, but the thing is, it's not that no one, it's like, here's the thing. Here, so, well, we don't beg here at the chapel. We just have a box in the back where you cast in your money. Yeah, right. So you have the purse back there for catching money. It's not the word scrip that sounds like a begging bowl. It's a leather pouch. But Battalion, I can't even remember it. Balantian. Balantian. See, there's the phonetic here. So I don't have to sound like a complete ignoramus. I can say Balantian. Balantian. If I heard some Greek speech, I could maybe get a little better sense of how they pronounce things. Okay, so just want to make sure I go back to my page. Okay, there we are. Whatever. It's not so much like don't collect money. Because it's ridiculous. You know why it's a ridiculous thing to say? He's about to send them out and to tell them to live in people's houses and stuff. And just accept people's hospitality. What he's saying is don't take money with you. All right? So on some level, though, he's not, I don't think Jesus wants us to beg in the most, and the funny thing is Arnold Murray asks for money all the time, and so do all kinds of ministries ask for money. Even on YouTube, people who sit in front of a camera like I do and just talk in a video log, they have like little Patreon things, and they, I thought about doing that, but I'm like, I don't, I just don't like being saddled with the whole thing. But I believe in Arnold Murray's philosophy in a sense of there is a box at the back. Like if someone looks hard enough, they can find some place to give money if they want to. Because while I do not need it, I certainly could use it, right? Oh, wrong button. And where's my... I need to get rid of that video. You understand the other side of my screen, there's like this... About 50,000 of me going just on a long line, and I really want to stop it. There we go. So, but I mean, you have the box in the back is okay. It's okay to accept donations, but accepting donations is essentially begging. I know he means like, please give money, and I do agree that that's exceedingly distasteful. But the funny thing is, even though I just have a donate button on my website on one page, one button on one page, there's a button where they can donate, right? I still get letters from people saying I'm begging and blah 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 blah. It's like, and I've never had anyone come back to me when I say Arnold Murray asked for money after every broadcast. I think I had one guy push back on that. But then I pushed back a little harder, and I didn't get a pushback again because I don't see how you can get around it. He asks for donations. But it's either that. So he's either begging in the strictest sense of the word, or you could say he's making merchandise. Pick which one. I don't sell any merchandise here. If I could have sold my music, I would have. It didn't work, and it is for sale, but you can get it free too. So I kind of undermine my own market after a while because I want people to hear it. I write music to share with the world. I teach to share with the world. I do as much as I can in my life. What I can fit in. I don't think I'm worthy to be a full-time servant, but I do love to serve and to do it. I just like to talk about it, as it's been the central. It's occupied my thoughts for a quarter of a century, and so it's something that's near and dear to me, the gospel. So don't bring purse, something for carrying money. And what I think he means there is not don't beg. He means don't take money. Don't prepare. Don't bring money. We're going to take a journey. What do we need? I mean, I'm like this. I've got right here. It's like wallet, cell phone, keys, music player, and then also, and quite honest, every time I go anywhere, it's like water, coffee, other beverage. Like, that's literally how I travel. It's like cell phone. I go through this almost not every time, because sometimes I only take 2 beverages. But my family laughs at me because I routinely take 3. Keys, cell phone, wallet. And the wallet's got to have money in it because I don't want to go out without money. Or something plastic that can magically create money. Right? Not exactly magic, right? I'm just thinking I remember there was a movie, I don't know if you ever saw The End of the Spear, when the guy, from the South American isolated murderous tribe came to America and went to a grocery store. It was like the plastic thing was magic because he's like, they were trying to explain, I gave them the plastic thing. He's like, they gave it right back. He's like, he thought everything was free. Because they had trouble understanding money, and they used plastic, which is even harder to understand. You think about it for someone who's never encountered money. Because, like, the bills, you can understand, it's like, oh, it's a form of trade. Like, I can get into the abstract concept of what $1 is worth. I can be like, well, if I have one and I trade it for my labor and then for the thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Don't take stuff, I routinely prepare for journeys, right? Well, if you're going on a long journey, you prepare even better than that. That's just for running in the car. I get a car, I just zip to the store, I zip home. He's saying, don't bring money. Don't bring a sack for provisions. That's what the scrip is. Don't bring shoes. This isn't saying go barefoot. No. But, with weather and stuff, sometimes when you travel, you bring a second pair of shoes. Like whenever I go camping, I always bring a second pair of shoes. I have too much experience camping to not bring a second pair of shoes. Because when your first pair of shoes gets wet, you're really thankful to have that second pair of shoes. Right? And generally, I always would end up stepping in mud or in water. If you're going to have fun camping, you're going to get dirty and wet. Otherwise, you're just going to be not really camping, It's not camp if you haven't gotten dirty or wet. No. Of course, if you go in the wintertime, I went camping in sub-zero with not sub-freezing. I woke up in a collapsed tent with ice on it. And salute no man, by the way. Meaning, oh, hey, Joe. Hey, man, I haven't seen you in so long. Let's, I'm going to step aside here and let's talk about old times. Yeah. Let me go say goodbye to the people who are at home. Remember yesterday? Let me go bury my father. Let me go finish up my life. Oh, look at it. There's, no man putting his hand to the plow, turning back is worthy of me. All that stuff. And into whatever house you enter, first say, peace be to this house. He wants them to say it. I'm hoping the hot liquid will help with my phlegm because it's really getting on. I'm gonna cough like crazy. I'm gonna mute it. It just won't come out. All right. So it's like talking with this really itchy throat. Okay, whatever house you enter, first say peace in this house. And if the Son of Peace be there, your peace shall rest upon it. If not, it shall return unto you. And in the same house remain, eating and drinking such things as they give. For the laborer is worthy of his hire. Go not from house to house. And into whatsoever city ye enter, and they receive you, eat such things are set before you. And heal the sick that are therein, and say unto them, the kingdom of God is come nigh unto you. So we'll stop at the but. So, first thing he says, when you come and they receive you, this is, on one hand we get the receive, and on the other hand is going to say what if they don't receive. Say peace. It's the blessing. What does that mean? And well, it's a blessing of peace. It's a prayer said in the form of a statement. Because it almost sounds like a command, like peace unto you, like I'm almost like telling God to do it. But it is a thing people will formally say. It's a it's a blessing of saying, let peace be to this house in the name of God, basically. Peace unto you. It's something that people, in church, I remember, in the Catholic Church especially, they always have the part where as they give one another, greeting one another with the offering of peace, or offer one another whatever. I forget what they call it. They have a specific name for it. And everyone looks around, shakes each other's hands. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Peace unto you. Peace to you. Peace, peace, peace. Everyone wishing one another peace. And it's a good thing to have. I know it's something I struggle with because I don't have a lot of peace all the time. I mean, I got peace in some sense. But sometimes the thing that gets me the most is having too many options. And like, not certain which way should I go. Like, I know where I want to go, but like where I feel I should go, but then I feel like it doesn't work or it isn't working, or I'm having difficulty, and then I have other options that are not really workable. But the worst is sometimes when there are several things which seem like they could be right. I remember someone talking about how it's very stressful for people to have too many choices. Anytime you ever looked at a huge menu, you know, when you get a restaurant, there's just so many choices, you know? A huge menu. It's not necessarily stressful, but it's sort of like you got to read it all, you know? It's like, you find something I'm interested in. I started just looking at the categories, you know? What do I want? An entree? Do I want a sandwich? You know, I can narrow it down pretty quick. I'll go with sandwich or salad. Or it's like, I usually end up trying to read the whole thing. But I always feel like that moment of like, you know, it's a big decision. It's not. You know, like at home we eat like maybe 20 things. You know what I mean? There's like probably 20 things we eat. Maybe more. You know what I mean, but the number is much more finite. And it's going to be limited by what we've got around the house. You know? What should I make today? Chicken or beef? You know? Or in this way, you know, it's not just meat or this meat or that meat. I mean, you know, this is how it's prepared. Too many choices can, but, you know, having too much. I remember them saying, as the human mind, at a certain level, whatever, too many options is stressful. That's why I advise people, when you're raising kids, don't give them tons of options and don't ask them all the time, what do you want, this or that? In two ways, it's disconcerting. Like to throw responsibility for decision making into a child may seem like you get to decide, but it's actually stressful. You should be in charge. Occasionally, yes, give them choices, and they should be able to, you know, free play and stuff like that. Free play is different, though. You know, it's like where someone's confronted with either A or B, it's a totally different thing. Kids should be free to play and waste time as they see fit and let their brains develop and all that. But you know, do you want this or that? This or that? Should we do this or that? You know, you think you're being nice. What you're doing is you're making the kid feel like they're in charge, and they don't feel in charge. It stresses them. Life has enough stress in it, enough uncertainty, enough, you know, lack of peace. I don't know if I made the right decision. You know? I don't know if I made the right decision. You know, well, I let the peace of God give you rest, and the decision's made. I usually feel better after I make a decision. I don't, you know, sometimes I'm haunted by my errors. You know, but the thing is, you say, well, you know, why don't I could say, well, you know, get over it. But I almost sometimes think the purpose of my errors was for me to be haunted by them. You know, to help change me. Because you know, there have been things where I messed up and I messed up and I messed up, and the errors piled up on me until I couldn't bear it, and I turned to the Lord, and then somehow, through the pain of just, you know, when you mess up enough sometimes and you really want to do right, having to confront that. I don't know sometimes it takes, it's hard to quantify what you need in any given moment, but then I'm hit with it. You know, it all comes down on me. And it can change me. You know, but I do want to have peace and know that God is changing me. But I guess I would say this is that peace don't I don't know, should we think of peace as, you know, I mean, like I get the sense that there is a false peace. You know what I mean? Like a peace that comes It's not the peace of God, but the peace of the world, so to speak. Right? Here's the Jesus. Thankfully, we have the Lord to describe it for us. Here's the peace of the world. And there was a rich man, and I think it's in the Gospel of Luke, but whatever. It's the theme of the year, or however long it's going to take us another couple months, right? I have riches, but my barns aren't big enough. I'll build bigger barns. And he built bigger barns. And says, I will take my rest because I've built up the bigger barns. There's the peace and satisfaction that comes when you go, I want another prop. I want a checkbook. Things I don't even know where my checkbook is. It's been gone for like a month. I remember the last time I wrote a check. Fortunately, it's not very often. So, where the heck? Whatever. I got lost. Honestly, then I thought of the checkbook, and then I thought of bills, and I totally forgot I was in a Bible study for a second there. I was like, oh yeah, they got to pay that car insurance bill. Anyways, and why was I going to make... like looking at your checkbook, look at that balance. Peace. Or the peace that's like, comes from everything just being okay. Like, having peace from just the world being... From this, like this. The sea is calm, I'm at peace. My bank account is full, I'm at peace. My 401k is just bulging to overflow. I don't have a 401k. My retirement plan is to never retire. That's my retirement plan. At least that's what it is so far. And that's why I exercise every single day, because it's like, I got to stay healthy. Can't retire. I don't plan for retirement. That's the world's wisdom. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, whatever, a lot of people already did. You know what I mean? I want to stay healthy and vigorous. I realize I might live to be 90 or to 100. I don't know. I could die tomorrow, but, that kind of thinking is not... people say, like, well, you could die tomorrow. It's like, no, I got to plan for the long haul. I got to live in this body as if I might need it for another 50 years. You know what I mean? That's longer than I've lived. I'd be 96 in 50 years. It's not outrageous. And I want to be careful to do my best to maintain it, because I may need it. That's my retirement plan, is to make sure that I'm as healthy as I can be as I retire, as I get older. I know about retire. It's fine to be retired. I'm not ripping on it. I just live my life differently. I had 8 children. And there's no can't lay aside for that. So peace is not just being at peace because you've got every reason to be peaceful. Like, I've got money, I've got looks, I've got the, whatever. I've got everything my heart should desire. I'm at peace. It's funny, people who have everything, quote unquote, so few of them are at peace, apparently. At least that's what they say, right? For all their money, they still were unhappy, I don't know. That's a problem I would like to look into and see what that's like. Because I have no idea what that's like. You know what I mean? I could guess, though, because, the thing is, if I had a lot of money, it's nice to have your bills paid, but that honestly isn't the thing. It's stressful when you go from paycheck to paycheck or whatever. Or I don't go from paycheck to paycheck. If you think paycheck to paycheck is stressful, try going from job to job. That's stressful. So you go from job to job, not knowing where your next job is going to be or what it's going to be, Okay, so that's, whatever, in the midst of whatever trouble, when the sea isn't calm, when your bank account is empty, you know? I mean, I've routinely over the past 25 years, many times, had single digit bank accounts, single digit things, which is good because, as some people probably know, integers get, integers, um, the kind of number, there's the different kinds of numbers. Integers, which is how the kind of numbers you're using when you bank, they do get into the negatives. So single digit positive is all right. At least I'm competent enough to not, get overdrawn. I wasn't when I was young, though, just wasting so much money paying fees to the bank. With a little more attention would have saved me. I also never take that overdraft protection. It's just, you just don't have, as far as where it allows you to write it, and I just tell them, just send the checks back. I don't want any, like, oh, we'll pay checks up to $200 and charge you another $30. Forget it. If you can't pay your bill, then deal with it. So, bring peace with you in the midst of trouble. The peace of God is in the midst of trouble. That's real peace. When you have your mind settled in the midst of all the chaos, I want to confront 1,000 decisions and be at peace knowing I'm going to choose right because God is with me. I'm going to choose right. I should know that. But so many things I've done seemed like mistakes to me. Even though I don't regret things because they make me who I am and I believe in destiny. I believe in all that intellectually. But viscerally, it's hard to believe in all that. They're like, everything's working out just the way it's supposed to work out. And I see that as like, it's easy for me to look at the past that way. But in the moment right now, I have like this, I don't want to leave this subject yet about peace. In this moment, what it is like, I look back at the past and I'm at peace because God brought me to where I am now. And I see it all worked out for good. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than where I am right now, in the situation I'm in. I'm happy to be here, right? I'm thankful to be here, exactly where I am. I don't want to change anything. Yet, at each moment, as I confront the coming moments, even the coming day, I'm going to have apprehension about things because I want to choose the right thing. But why don't I have peace? I know exactly why. This is my own struggle. I don't have peace because the past, I accept it as God's will. But that doesn't mean I liked going through a lot of those things. I went through a lot of things, and I've gone through a lot of things that were exceptionally painful to me. You know what I mean? It's like, I broke my fifth metatarsal once, the little bone in my foot. And that was the most painful thing I'd ever experienced in my life. So painful, it almost made me lose consciousness from the pain. Because there's no other reason I would lose consciousness in that moment. Because there was no big deal. It's just a tiny little bone in my foot. But it hurts so bad. I remember I saw the world getting dark around the edges. You break your foot, you have a painful experience, or just something less metaphorical. I mean, that's a literal injury I had, but I'm using it as a metaphor for all kinds of life's ups and downs. You burn your hand on the stove, what? You're reluctant to touch it again, right? And though I know everything's working for my good, I don't particularly want to put my hand on the hot stove again. And so I made so many decisions in the past where it seemed like the right thing at the time. And I ultimately agree that it was God's will. It is the right thing. Yet at the same time, it was awfully painful to me. Right? And I think that the difficulty, and we all, if it seems like, Paul, I thought you were better than this, or something like that. It's like, we all have room to grow. But I don't particularly like the head. I've gained a lot through pain, but I don't, in the moment of decision, I don't feel like heading into it headlong. Even the Lord himself. I mean, I'm thankful for Jesus' prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane. I'm thankful for that. Because like, yeah, you know, I guess, but he knew where he was going. He knew it was God's will. He knew it was pain. And here's the thing. I'm still getting choices. I don't know if this could hurt you or not. It's like, sometimes like when you get a shot, I remember as a kid being like, do I want to watch it? Just watch them go in with the needle. Just watch the shot happen. Or do you like to just kind of look away and, hey, yeah, and I'm still in the place where I like to talk to people while I'm getting the shot. It's not the pain. I don't like the needle. I don't like being stuck. I don't like things intruding into my body. I have a visceral reaction to it. The pain is nothing. I mean, a shot doesn't hurt. But someone putting a needle into me bugs me on some deep level, right? I like to look away. I don't like to see it coming. Let's say I confront situations where it's like, I feel like here's the thing, and this is the wisdom of God for me, I suppose. Paul, you think you want to know what you should do and what the results are going to be, But it's like, if I told you, I need you to go this way and it's going to hurt. Is that really what you want? You really want to know, this is the right way. It's going to hurt. This is the way you got to go. It's going to be painful. Or would you rather just choose, not knowing, thinking it's for the best, and not knowing if it's going to hurt, and then just having it happen? And I don't know that I'm ready, because it's like, if I was in the Lord's position, knowing I'm about to be crucified, when the guards show up, I might not have been there anymore. I don't know. People, oh yeah, I would, like Peter. Lord, I'll die for you. I'll do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you say that in the heat of youth. I would have said things like that when I was young. Until you've actually experienced true, until you've come to make or break moments, you don't know yourself, what how has it revealed you? I remember when I was young, being in a dangerous situation and freezing up, and that haunting me for years. Like, I froze up. Is that what I am? But then there were other situations later on where I sprang into action. and I don't, and I still haven't fully, you don't get enough practice at that sort of thing to know. I mean, I've discovered I'm a great driver because I got in accidents when I was young. I realized now I'm so good at it, I've avoided several. I'm on an icy surface, like, get around it, recovering skids. I don't know that I'm that great. I don't mean to brag, but I'm just saying, I mean that, say a little tongue-in-cheek. I don't mean it like as a brag. I'm just saying I discovered, I've learned a lot about driving. I'm much better. I'm competent. That's good. All right, so when you go to peace is, is so good to have. It is, there's greater and greater levels of it. And the ultimate peace is to be confronted with a situation where you're going into pain or suffering or something, and to be at peace about it. To have peace, knowing it's not because that's like right or wrong decision. It's like, what am I judging it by? What does it right mean? Right? What I mean is, like, I want to make the right decision, the one that results in comfort and the peace of the world. I want to choose the thing that ends up with me more money, more free time, and more pleasure in life. That's what I really want. When I'm confronted with decisions, but you know why? Because all the painful decisions, I don't regret the things that happened. But when I get confronted with a new situation, I want to choose the thing that's not going to be painful. I'm looking for which one isn't going to hurt. Which one isn't going to hurt? And the peace of God, if I had that as much as I want, I think I have, of course, we have measures of things, right? I have a measure of God's peace through the wisdom he's taught me. But, I see that great level where you see, I'm not at the level the Lord's at, where I could have peace going, with I'm going to die, And he was only in his early 30s. Yeah, I'm almost 50 and I don't have that spiritual development. And of course, he's the Lord. And that's not, I'm just talking about the importance of peace because Jesus mentioned why the first thing, because it's a very important thing. If I could give you peace, you'd have so much. If I could just grant it to you, peace to you, have peace. Because it's an inner thing. It's an inner thing in the midst of outer turmoil. Because it's not saying, let there be no turmoil. I mean, that's good. I like that kind of peace, the external peace. But so much more valuable to have internal peace, just like internal righteousness. Because if you have peace inside, it'll go out everywhere. If we all have inside peace, the world will be filled with peace. The outside world will reflect the peace that is within us all. And that's why it's so important. Because if we have inner turmoil, there'll be no peace. As long as there's no peace within, there can be no peace without. In the same house remain, eating and drinking such things as they give. For the laborer is worthy of his hire. He's saying, don't bring money in a purse, but he's saying, eat and drink what they give you. Right? Live off other people. So I'm just saying that in contradiction to Arnold Murray. He's saying, don't bring a bag for money, shoes, go out pretty much like if I just got up out of this chair, forgot all my stuff and just left. Just go as you are. You're fine now. Go. And then let them take care of you. Announce the kingdom of God's coming. Announce my coming. And give them peace and then let them feed you and take care of you. Because a workman is worthy of his hire. That's why I said someone who, here's the thing. They're if I got up and left here and went out and did that, I would be owed it. I mean, like I always say about full-time ministry, people who work in full-time ministry deserve to be paid. They do. There's nothing shameful about it. People who dig into it, if they do what they're, a workman is worthy of his hire. They should be paid, but you should be paid based on what you're worth and what you actually produce. You know what I mean? Workman should be paid according to his value. So it's not just a workman is worthy of his hire. A workman ought to be worthy of his hire. You know what I mean? Not just the guy who works should get paid, but he should get paid what he is worth when he works. Going on from house to house. That, bad taste. You know what I mean? Go one house, let them feed you there. Don't go from house to house. You get a bad reputation. There's something immediately. You imagine someone coming to a town, visiting one house, staying with them, eating with them, right? Where are they? They're at that house. That way everyone knows where you are. They know who you are. But going from house to house is like celebrity, like popularity. Well, I want them to stay at my house now. I've seen this in movies. I can't recall where they had some stranger who everyone was excited about and stay at my house, and they all begin fighting over who stays, and it becomes a contest. Jesus said in another place, ask whoever's worthy, and go stay with them. Inquire as to who's the worthy person to stay with for the kingdom of God. General principle. You be steadfast. Going not house to house. I mean, there's a lot of principles you can draw from that as far as like, be steadfast, be consistent. You know what I mean? I'm running out of time. I don't want to try to stuff a bunch in. That's all right. I thought I would, but it's just that piece really derailed me. It's an important subject. And whatsoever city enter there and they receive you, eat such things are set before you. There was a whole bunch I wanted to say just on that. I've got a minute to say it. Huh. Such things as they give. Well, I'll probably recount it a bit. We'll probably pick it up with verse 9. Well, we've got verse 9. I don't think I need to say anything. We'll start with verse 10 tomorrow. Okay. But let's just talk just briefly, really briefly, about eating the things that are set before you as a principle. I always thought that when I first started studying the Bible seriously as a young adult, one of the things I learned about was the dietary laws of the Old Testament and trying to follow them. And as anyone who studies with me long knows, I don't believe in that anymore at all. I'm a Gentile, not a Jew, and I do not, that is not in my family, in the tradition, they eat very unclean animals because we are unclean Gentiles. We are not God's separate and holy people, the Jews, who are separate and holy carnally. I'm separate and holy spiritually, and I don't have to become as a Jew for that internal spiritual holiness to sanctify my whole person. And that was decided in the New Testament. They decided what Gentiles had to do and what they didn't. That's a settled question as far as I'm concerned. But when Peter was given the vision of the animals being let down, all the 4-footed, there was this big sheet that comes down, and it shows all, and it says, "Arise, kill and eat," and the sheet went back up into heaven, and it came back down. This happened 3 times. I remember Arnold Murray made a big deal about, the sheep, but every time the thing went up into heaven. I don't know that he read something into that. That means like, don't eat, but eat. He says, "Arise, kill and eat," and Peter says, "No, I've never eaten unclean flesh." He's like, what I have cleansed, don't call thou unclean. And Arnold Murray would point out that, hey, he was talking about the Gentiles. He wasn't saying that Peter had to eat those things. You're right, that's not the message. But in the midst of all the other dietary freeing up messages and the whole, all other parts, like the sacrificial laws going out the window and all that, with all these things changing, it's odd that, like, oh no, don't accidentally think you could eat whatever. And there's tons of New Testament scriptures that like sort of give one that impression. You can always talk your way around everything, wave your hand, and it all just goes away. But in a broader sense, eat whatever's set before you. Not food. What I mean is this. A lot of times you want to pick and choose. You got to go out as lambs, not as wolves. Lambs go out and feed where they can. I'm just being somewhat metaphorical here. A wolf is going to choose its stalking grounds. It's going to choose. It's going to be choosy. It's going to be like, shall I lie in wait here? Shall I follow these tracks? Whatever. And the tendency of people, when they want to preach to people and stuff, and like you go online and stuff, you want to, and people even says, pick your battles, right? But I don't mean pick your battles means choose when you fight, which is fine. But some people always want to they want to actually arrange the battle. They want to set everything up. So they always try to set up the fight. There's a notorious guy I've heard of. I wonder if I should mention his name because I wonder if it'll make him appear. You know what I mean? But he's this a Christian guy. I'll tell you the name. It's a guy called Darth Dawkins, which is funny because he mentions two villains, one real and one completely fictional. And I don't know his real name. Some people do. But like, he always goes and argues with atheists, and he swears, and he's supposed to be a Christian, right? But he has this argument based around worldviews, right? And he always brings it. He's always forcing the conversation into his little box canyon, where he's like, "I have you," and then people just climb up the walls and leave, because just because you arrange a fight, you know what I mean, so that you can win, and you rig it up, doesn't mean that you're going to be respected in your victory. You know what I mean? That's kind of what he does. Is he has a clever argument he reuses over and over again, which is I've never studied it. It always seemed to me a bit contrived. Like you know what I mean? It's contrived. To argue contrived, to preach contrived, to like want to dictate the menu. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if the Lord specifically means this, but I take it in a metaphorical sense to eat what's set before me. Meaning, what problems are people having? What's on the menu? I mean, what are they talking about? What are people's hurts? What are their pains? Where are they? You know, even when I approach the scriptures, literally, I eat what's set before me. I could do specials. I do occasionally do them. But generally, I just sit down and read the Bible. We go verse by verse, right? And whatever happens in the study, if I cover 2 verses, it's 2 verses. I know that I probably lose viewers that way, you know, but whatever. I think it's worth the lesson because I want to get the most out of it. I want to effectually help people, not just be intended. Oh, I'm going to help people, all right? I got this system I'm going to put in. I got all the arguments, and we're going to herd them down. This is like when they teach people apologetics. They teach them a bunch of arguments. If they say this, then you say this. If they say that, then you say this. If you say this, then they say that. You know, and you develop this sort of like script almost. You script it. You script out your preaching. You script out your... Nothing wrong with having a prepared sermon. What I mean is like, but like, you want to go out and preach the gospel, but you want to do it on your terms. You know what I mean? I want to dictate what we're going to eat. But you're saying, except how you bring the gospel, and just what do they set before you? Whatever they set before you, eat it. And then, you know what I mean? Like, if it's not good food, don't, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, certainly he means this literally. Don't complain about the food. You know what I mean? Of those who receive you. You know what I mean? When someone receives you, and then they say things that you don't want to hear, or that you don't, or you find it tiresome, you know? Or they say things that are uncomfortable, or whatever, you know, don't complain about the food. Eat it. And then, listen to people. Do, and, I mean, that's all. It's very intimate. Like, go to one house, stay there. Don't go from house to house. Be real. Be up close. Be personal with people. Be genuine. It's very important. Anyway, so we're going to pick up with verse 10 tomorrow. Thanks for joining me in this study. I look forward to continuing it tomorrow with you. Though that's nonsense, right? With I look forward to continuing looking into a mirror, essentially. And thank you for joining me in this exercise.
This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if you do what I command you. Henceforth I call ye not servants, for the servant doesn't know what his Lord is doing. but I have called you friends.